Hey guys, Tammy here. And in this video, I'm going to ask you a question, which is, what do you want? What do you want? This gets back to strategy. Okay. We need to have a strategy and not just go throwing everything at the wall to see what will stick. You need a comprehensive strategy. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. Before we dive into the details, though, please, if you like my content, hit like on this video and also subscribe to the channel so that you get notified as new videos are released. And as always, share on social media so that more people can find me and get more help in their divorce and custody cases. Okay. So, what do you want? I mean, that's real simple in some ways, right? Sometimes the answer to that is something like, "Oh, I want the other parent to leave me alone." I think I had somebody say that to me today, actually. And my response to that is, well, the court can't make that happen. Okay. So, Thomas used to say the court is a blunt instrument. What he meant by that was the court isn't good at handling the details. They can't control people's behavior in a certain regard. I mean, can you file contempt and do these different things? Yeah, there's some avenues where you can do some things and whatnot. But really, at the end of the day, if your ex is a jerk, they're a jerk. The court can't control those little things. So you have to figure out, what is it you want and what is it you're asking the court to do? And then figure out, is what I'm asking for even something the court can give me? Is this something the court can handle? Let's say you have a situation where the child doesn't want to go. Okay, that's something I get sometimes. And it's like, okay, the child doesn't want to go. Uh, okay, but the court's not typically going to give you an order just because you want it that the child doesn't go. Now, sometimes the court will give an order that it's up to the child, depending on the situation. I've seen that happen. But a lot of times, if the child doesn't want to go, it's because of the dynamics going on in the other household with the other parent, right? So before you rush right into court, the better thing to do is to get the child in therapy. Then the therapist is the one that's aware of whatever dynamic is going on in the other person's household. And if there's reason to be concerned, then the therapist is a mandated reporter and that issue will get reported, right? So that's just one example. But, let's say you said to me, okay, I want more parenting time. Okay, well, let's look at that. And, the advantage of knowing what you want is it helps you in the negotiations and in the courtroom. Because when you go into the courtroom and you just say, oh, I want more parenting time and here's all the crappy things the other parent does. Okay, well, the parent does all these crappy things to you. Why does that warrant you getting more parenting time? Getting more parenting time isn't about the other parent, that's about the children. So you're kind of barking up the wrong tree. When you figure out what it is you want, and let's say that you want more parenting time. Okay, what I see vast majority of people do is they just go, oh, well, I was in a couple months ago to the court. I didn't like the outcome. I want to do something different. So now I want to go back and file and get more parenting time. And it's like, okay, but that's probably not enough time since the last decision for anything to have changed enough for you to get a significant change in the parenting time. Most states have, or I shouldn't say most, some states have timelines. Even they'll say, oh, you can't file anything for 6 months or a year, or some states I've seen 2 years you can't file anything. So there's reasons for that. It's because people tend to pull the trigger too soon. So once you figure out what it is you want, and let's say it is something like more parenting time, then you have to ask yourself, well, okay, what factors do I have that warrant me having more parenting time? Is it just because I want it? Because that's not going to be a good enough reason. The court's going to want to know, why is it in the best interest of the children, or what's changed since the last time you were standing in front of me that would warrant me changing this. this is where a consultation with a lawyer can be really helpful. And I'll tell you, even if you say to me, look, I can't afford an attorney, I have to do this on my own. Okay, you can't afford an attorney and you need to do this on your own. That's fine, but you can afford, most people, vast majority of people can afford at least an hour of attorney time to go talk to somebody and say, should I file this now? Do I have reason to do this? This is what I'm thinking. This is what I want. And should I, am I in a good position? Am I in a good legal position to file this and ask for what I'm asking for? But if you don't even know what you want, then that becomes a dilemma for everybody, for you, for an attorney, for the judge, for everybody. Because if all I have is a list of complaints about the other parent, or if what I want is completely unreasonable, then that's not going to help anybody. That's just going to be a waste of time, money, effort, stress, all of those things, and it's not actually going to result in a good outcome. Let's say the other parent has most of the parenting time. Let's say you have 20% of the parenting time, and you're like, oh, well, I want it flipped, and I want 80%, and I want the other parent to have 20% because the other parents had the kids for the last 4 years, and I should have them for the next 4 because that's what's fair. Okay, that's probably not going to result in success, right? Because the court doesn't look at the children as pawns in what's fair to you and the other parent. They look at what's good for the children, and what's good for the children, in their opinion, is usually some form of consistency. So if the kids have been with the other parent for X number of years, that's actually lessens the strength of your argument, because that we would look at continuing what's been happening more so than changing it. Okay. A lot of times what's going on in your own head as far as what you want and what you think can make happen is very, very different than what may happen in the courtroom. And one of the things that Thomas always said to me is, don't ever ask a question you don't know the answer to. So you don't walk into the courtroom and just throw everything at it and give your list of complaints and your list of issues and then go, okay, judge, figure it out and tell me what to do. Because I will tell you that almost 99 times out of 100, you're not going to like that decision. Whatever decision comes, you're not going to be happy with it. A lot of my last few videos have been about, the logic and the analysis and the thought process that lawyers go through and the thought process that judges go through and all that kind of thing. And so you can see that this is very, there's a lot of thought that goes into it, right? I mean, Thomas would sit in front of his computer and write, and like he would sit and write and think and write and think. And then he would get up and he would go outside and he would walk around the block for 15 or 20 minutes to kind of process the thoughts a little and clear his head out. And then he'd come back and he'd sit and write and think and write and think. So you need to put thought into this. You need to put effort into this. You need to decide what it is you want. You need to figure out reasons why what you want is good for the children and good for this situation, and not just walk up and kind of throw stuff at the court and hope for the best outcome. That is not going to be a good strategy. That's not going to give you the greatest chance of success, because just throwing everything out isn't a strategy at all. It's just like tossing stuff in the air and hoping for the best, like I said. So you need a comprehensive strategy, and that starts with figuring out what you want. And once you figure out what you want, then you figure out how to get there. Hope that's helpful. If you'd like to learn more about my coaching services, please go to divorceuniversityonline.com/VIP-coaching. There's a link on that page where you can book a free 15-minute call with one of my staff to learn more about my coaching services and for us to share how we might be able to support you on this journey. All right. See you guys next time.